All right, so
Okay, well,
looks like
perfect.
we're live. Hey, everybody, it's Cash Call with Brian Curtis and Dale Archdekin, the man with the best hair in real estate. Not my words. That was Ann Baldwin. Thank you, Ann Baldwin.
Yeah, and that ain't my hair that we're talking about, by the way.
So we've got some more calls, more listener calls to listen to today, which is always a treat. It's always fun doing that stuff. So Brian, should we just jump into it?
We should, and so I'm experiencing technical difficulty today, so I'm hoping my calls will work. If not, we'll just talk a lot more about Dale. So we'll see how it works. I had to get a different computer and experiencing technical difficulties. So
your headset is like one of those pilot headsets, man. It's like incredibly crisp.
You know, it's very interesting to me about this headset. So we'll spend 30 seconds talking about this. I talk to agents all day who would rather do this. This is very, very inefficient, very, very ineffective. And here's the thing, and Dale may disagree with me. I'm an anti-Bluetooth person. The reason I'm anti-Bluetooth is I used to use them. However, I burned them out. After about 90 days, I didn't know that worked just fine on my end, but what I found out was my clients who always didn't say anything, what really my family's the one who told me, is that after about 90 days, they didn't work very well anymore. And here I am trying to have conversations with people. I'm irritating them. I'm frustrating them because ultimately they can't hear me. They're not telling me that my phone connection sucks. So keep that in mind if you're using Bluetooth. Test it every once in a while with somebody you know and trust to make sure it's working. I haven't used one in about 5 years. I'm sure the technology's improved, but if you spend the hours on the phone that Dale and I have, they burn out. So I wear this ugly thing. I walk around. People make fun of me. It actually plugs into the bottom of my phone. I'm old school, but it always works.
That thing's sexy. And you sound like you can make announcements from the pilot.
That's right.
All right, so let's bring up some of these calls. Let's see who's attending. We've got a couple of attendees on here. Hey, everybody. Oops, let me bring up attendees. Hello, people who are attending. All right, we got Alan Wong, Karen Freeman, Scott Davis, Tyler Robbins, and a bunch of other people. Good to see all of you. Thanks for joining us today. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to tee up my call first.
Perfect.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Let me bring up the Lab Coats post so that we can see if there's any comments. Get through it. There we go. Okay. All right. Good. So I'm going to share my screen. Computer sound. Here we go. Okay. So let's listen to this first one. I think we've hit this a couple of times, but this kind of call just comes up all the time. And, with a lot of people buying portal leads, getting internet leads, inbound stuff, unfortunately, these leads don't plan the appropriate time to call you, right? It'd be great if they made an appointment for when they want to come in.
They didn't get on my schedule, did they?
So let's listen to this. Brian, you give me a thumbs up when you can hear it.
Good afternoon, Geiger Smith.
Hi, I was in...
And before you point out that the guy's name was on there, he gave me permission to play this. BT Dubs.
Excellent.
So it's okay.
inquiring about the properties on 226 North Essex. And this might be an older, I don't see anything like specifically for sale, but
who am I speaking with?
My name is Sherry. Do you guys handle or know that particular development with the condos
I do,
there?
Absolutely, but I just want to double check. I'm actually driving at the moment, so.
Oh, there it is, kiss of death, right?
Yep. How do I get somebody off the phone? Give them a reason to kick me off the phone.
Right. So what happens when you say to somebody, I'm driving? This person wants something. They want to know something. You're a complete stranger. They made a phone call, right? And you say, I'm driving. What does that sound like?
My opinion is it sounds like I'm probably don't have the information available. It sounds like I'm doing something else that's more important than you. And I'll try and multitask, which we all know is impossible.
Yeah, and I may or may not get you what you need.
Exactly.
Right? So that is a very good opportunity for somebody to be like, oh, no, that's okay. I'll call somebody else.
Yep.
Right?
That's what I would do. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm obviously not in the market to buy a house, but I would. I'd be like, hey, I understand. I'll get somebody else. Click, thanks.
Exactly.
Done.
And so we've talked about this several times, Brian, in this show. What do you do instead? Hey, I'm calling about that property on whatever street. Okay, great. You want to know about the property on whatever street. What's your name? They're going to give you their name. What would you like to know about the property on whatever street? They're going to ask you some kind of question. I want to know ABC and 1, 2, 3 about that house. Got it. You want to know ABC and 1, 2, 3 about the property on whatever street. Is there anything else you want to know? Nope, that's pretty much it. Got it. Okay. Do you live in the neighborhood? How long have you been looking to purchase? What interested you about this property? Oh, are you pre-qualified or whatever, right? You're going to go through your questions. You're going to ask your qualifying questions, and you're not actually going to answer theirs. You could do that without saying I'm driving, right?
Yes. If there's no benefit that I'm driving. I'm sure what the thought was maybe this person will cut me a little slack if I say I'm driving.
Yeah. So
that's what you thought, but that's not what they heard.
Exactly. Don't tell them that. You're never driving. You're never doing anything other than being there to answer their question, to find out what they want to know, find out what you want to know, and then get off the phone with or without answering their question.
All right. I'd love to give you a call right back as soon as I get
Yeah.
Is that
Take your
okay?
time. I'm looking for condos either to rent or buy, and
Okay.
I walk by that place a lot, so I just thought I would inquire.
Oh, okay. Where do you live now?
What's that? Oh, I'm in Narber.
Where do you live now?
Oh, in
you're right in
Narber.
Narber.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, let me take a quick look, and I will get right back to you. What's a good email address for you, too?
VioletXXX@AOL.com.
Okay, perfect. I will remember that.
Okay.
Violet XXX.
Do you have a grip on any of the other condos? Like there's something down Windsor Arms, and then there's a Dudley Avenue one.
There are quite a few, and there might be a few coming up. What does your budget look like? Have you started?
So at least he's doing some discovery, but he's already said twice that he wanted to call her back, right?
Yeah, that's my question, Dale. And what I would like to ask this gentleman is, why have you tried to kick her off the phone twice, and then you turn around 10 seconds later and start doing discovery? You skip the part where you say, can I get off the phone with you, and just keep doing what you're doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can tell you why. Is because what he's fixated on, which is what a lot of agents get stuck on, they get stuck on answering the person's question, knowing the information to be able to have a conversation, which in normal human interaction makes sense. But what you and I are saying is you have to subvert normal human interaction. This is a process, right? The process is give the person information if you can, but if you can't, you stall them long enough to ask your information, to get the information you want, right? When somebody calls in, it's a selfish, you need to be acting selfishly, right? You need to sound good and sound helpful, but you need to actually be acting selfishly, right? Every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you got to be getting that information from somebody. That's the purpose. It's not to answer questions. You're not an information desk. You're a salesperson, right?
And I hit that word that you just said, Dale. You said salesperson. A lot of people have decided that's a 4-letter word. It's not. It's not a 4-letter word. Be proud of being a salesperson. And it's one of the most bountiful, plentiful, abundant industries in the world. Be proud of it. Just don't be a sleazy salesperson. Just don't be a salesperson that works only in your best interest. But for the love of God, be a salesperson. Be proud of it. I sell stuff for a living. What do I sell? I sell me. I sell my product. I don't sell houses, by the way. I sell our team. I sell, our systems. I sell all that. And if you're not proud of that, then find something to be proud of and sell that. But if you're not proud of what you got, then if you're embarrassed by that, and again, someone on my team actually said that to me yesterday, I'm a consultant. I'm like, no, you're not. You're a salesperson. So consultants don't make very much money unless you're consulting Fortune 500 companies. So anyway, let's move forward. Dale, I'll cut you off there.
Yeah, so I think he's going to end this pretty quickly.
Looking that far into it, do you have an idea?
For my price range?
Yes.
Well, to rent, it's about $1,300, and to buy, it's about $170.
Okay. All right. Well,
so
with that
I know
in
I'm very
mind,
limited. I'm limited,
No,
but
that's okay.
things do come up, So
yes, they do.
I'm just down here looking.
No. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you reaching out. Let me look into it, and I will give you a call back shortly.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
Now, you might be thinking by listening to this that he bailed based on the price, but he actually didn't bail. The price is fine. It's not a high dollar property, but you can find things. You can find condos in that price range. It's low, but they would field that. So I don't want people to think that he got off because of that. It was because he's still a little bit fixated on getting answers to her questions. So what you would want to do instead is, like we talked about, you find out what she wants to know. What does she want to know about it? Then find out who she is, all the where, when, why, what, who, and how much. And Geiger got some of it, to his credit. He just wants to get the rest of it, stay on the phone, set a face-to-face with her if he can make it happen, and then let her know that in the interim between now and us meeting face-to-face, I'll get you the information that you want to know about that property.
Perfect. Here's something else that's interesting that he may or may not picked up on. What I would like to do with this, and by the way, anytime you have anybody who says they want to rent, my very first question is, out of curiosity, why do you want to rent? And I don't know that we know, but I can tell you this: $1,300 a month at 3.5% interest rate. Let me just put this differently: $155,000. So I basically assumed like a 5% down payment situation on somebody. That's only $700 a month PI, principal and interest. So, and I don't know what taxes and insurance are in there, but my point is this person might actually be able to comfortably afford more than $170,000 a month. Now, they also might be pre-qualified, and the lender said that, but there's a lot of discovery opportunities here. And here's where the real opportunity is. Anytime I can say to somebody, so you're comfortable with a $1,300 a month payment, do you care how much house you buy? If they don't care about the actual price of their house, you might be able to bump them up a little bit. And again, I'm not saying we need to, but if you bring value that doesn't exist, and so long story short, if you don't know how to use a financial calculator, go learn how to use a financial calculator, because again, principal and interest on 155 at 3.5% is about $700 a month. So now again, you got to pay taxes and insurance, but in my market, taxes and insurance is about another $400 a month. That gives me another $200 the way I'm doing math.
Yeah, and she's saying $1,300 a month and a condo, right? You got condo fees. If you can find her single family, she doesn't have a condo fee and she can spend more. So that's important, right? To have that conversation with somebody, and don't let her off the phone without that. Definitely a lot of missed opportunity in that one. Brian, do you want to play one from yours?
I do. I don't have any idea if it's going to work, but I definitely want to play. So we're going to see how this works. Share computer sound.
We've got some rock stars watching today. I see Mike McCann joined. We got Greg Harrelson watching, right? So maybe they'll give us some notes later on. These are two. You know Greg Harrelson, don't you?
Know the name. We're not.
Huge Century 21 guy, and Mike McCann's out of my market in Philly.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to try and play this call, Dale. I have no idea if it's going to work.
Okay.
Oakwood Lane. Are you there? I'm here. Okay. And then you said Oak View? Oakland? Oakwood Lane. Okay. Is it a duplex? Yes. Okay. And what was your name?
This is another one.
Tara. T-A-R-A, McCabe, M-C-C-A-D-E. Okay.
You're pausing.
I'm not showing the...
Yeah, so the sound's a little weird, but basically this agent is just doing the ticky-tacky thing, right? Not talking to the lead, just trying to find this property, doing zero discovery.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like there's going to be a real, it sounds like this is going to go off a cliff because we've only got a few seconds left.
Right, and I basically cut some of these up real short, so.
That is available. Is it for sale by owner by chance?
Okay, here's the reason I created this phone call, and I'm going to stop sharing now because that's really there was only one point of this phone call, and I actually played it during my team meeting today. But the point of this phone call was this person called off of Zillow, by the way, and the agent couldn't find the property. So in other words, the agent probably went in the MLS, which is the very logical thing to do. They went in the MLS and they were like, oh crap, such and such Oakwood Drive is not for sale in the MLS. And then they did, to me, the number one cardinal sin is they ask, is this a FSBO? So, Dale, what's wrong with asking somebody if it's a FSBO? There's so many things, but I'll get your input on that.
Yeah, first thing that person would do is, oh, FSBO. Okay, well, first of all, let me just research it on the internet, or let me go drive by and see if I can see if it's for sale and talk to them about it. So we lose that opportunity right there, right? Huge loss.
Here's something else that, and I don't think a lot of people watching this probably didn't catch this. FSBO I lost it. FSBO is a term that we use. Regular people don't say FSBO. What the hell's a FSBO?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Right. So you're asking somebody who's calling you for information, A, what's the status of this house? Wait, isn't this your job? And then B, you use terminology that they probably have no idea what the hell that means. Yeah. So I'm frustrated on all kinds of levels if I'm at the other end of this phone. If you can't find something on Zillow, flip the script once again. So I actually did this, and this is kind of a cool idea for anyone watching out there. Draw a bar graph and just put client on one side and agent on the other. What's the client calling for? They're calling for information. What's the agent calling? What's the agent answering for? Well, theoretically, the agent's answering so that they convert this person to a client. They want information too, but it's two different sets of information. So, think about what your objective is versus what the buyer/seller's objective is, and understand if you don't get what you want, don't be giving them what they want. And I'm not saying eventually we don't, because we do need to answer questions. But at the end of the day, stop that and stop using jargon.
Yeah.
I was in the military, and we were, it was funny. We would have people come visit, who didn't know us. We have a bunch of military guys sitting around, and we talked in acronyms constantly. That's how our life was. And people, you could see the people who didn't, they just kind of got a glazed look on your face. Don't do that to your potential clients. They don't want to know FSBO and whatever other jargon that we use on a daily basis that's simple to us. They don't know what it means.
So let's talk practicality. Absolutely, I agree with that. I want you to script out like I did. Let's script out what to do. Let's help these viewers. So you have a Zillow or anything that somebody calls in, they want to know about a certain duplex, right? Now, this script that I gave is, hey, you want to know about such and such street. Got it. What do you want to know about it? Get it all out of them and then move on to your questions. Brian, is there anything different that you would do other than that? Because
I would do that.
I wouldn't even know that it's not in Zillow because I wouldn't look it up.
Right. So I would do that, and then I would follow it up with, I'm going to do all my discoveries. So theoretically, I've, found out what they want, where they want. I've done the full discovery. Then I am going to follow up with what I'm going to call an ad back to them, back to my graph again. They want to know about this house. So I would say, guys, because I've already gotten everything that I want, right? So I've already done all my discovery. I win, if you will. Then I'm going to say, look, I'm going to do a little bit of research and find out what the status of this house is, and I'm going to call you back with that information. And now I've given them a reason to answer my phone call. And if they don't answer, I can just say, hey, Dale, I've got that information about 123 Main Street. Give me a call back when you get a chance. You want that information. Guess what? You're probably going to call me back. So I've done the discovery. Why not find out? And just, to me, that's a value add. So this guy went above and beyond, because the other 4 agents that I called told me it wasn't for sale. It was on Zillow, and Zillow's stupid.
Ask me if it was right.
Yeah, they asked me if it was FSBO, exactly. But most of the times we do. We bash on Zillow, say it's stupid. Here's the thing, guys. You've known this person for 30 seconds. What makes you think that they trust you over the #1 real estate site in the world?
Yeah, exactly. Don't trash talk it with a complete stranger over the phone, because they're going to believe the advertising with the happy looking family over you, random real estate salesperson over the phone.
Exactly. So, you don't have credibility. You think you do. And the reality is you're probably right, but right doesn't make you successful.
Right. Exactly. Great. Okay. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to play a for sale by owner call. Basically, this is a role play. This is where we're listening to a VA, a virtual, right, ISA practice or interviewing basically for a job. And I want to play this because you can hear a lot of key things not to do as a salesperson, right? These are some valuable lessons I want to give people here. And it's one of the reasons that for the most part, and I'm probably going to catch some heat here, for the most part, when you try to outsource your ISA work, people who are, outsourcing them to other countries, generally speaking, don't work very well. And we're going to hear why. Let me bring this up.
Hello, this is Carla.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. I'm calling about the house on 81st States Avenue, Naples, Florida. And I want to know if it's still available for sale.
Yeah, the house is available. We are doing for sale by owner. And what is this in regarding?
Now, one of the things I want to point out, you're going to hear an accent on both parties, right? It's actually one of the female that's speaking is an active real estate agent that does really well in Florida. She has an accent. Our VA that's applying has an accent also. But, so beyond the accent, we're going to listen to the technique of the VA, and I want to point out some clear problems.
Yeah, we are actually a specialist in the area, and we like to keep up to date with all the homes for sale. And that includes both MLS listings and privately marketed properties like yours. And also, by the way, my name is Marvin with Massive Team and Sun Realty. And can you tell me more about the home?
Yeah, you can see all the details on Zillow. It is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in the year 2000. And as I said, we want to sell it ourselves. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. All the agents are calling, and you are a real estate agent, right?
Yes, we are actually.
Yeah, we don't intend to use a real estate agent at this time. We want to sell ourselves.
Oh, I understand. So, like what I said a while ago, we are actually a specialist in the area. We just like to keep up to date with all the homes for sale, and we also just like to check all the properties in your area if it matches on our buyer's criteria. So, on this case, one thing is that we also updating our list for sale by owners home in the area. And also, by the way, we're also doing a quick survey of home sellers.
Okay, so he's just throwing the kitchen sink at this person, right?
He really is.
It's not logical. And although people do say, and in our experience, people buy on emotion, their bullshit filters work on logic. I can tell you that much, right?
Amen.
They may take action on emotion. Bullshit filter is built on logic. And if you don't make sense, the answer is no. I'm getting off the phone with you. So that's one issue here. I want to see if we can get to the part also that I want to point out. That's a very common thing that happens with salespeople.
Is it okay if I ask you a few questions about the house or the property?
He's going to get stuck. He just asked for permission to ask questions again, which he's already asking questions. And just don't ask permission. Just ask your questions, but make them purposeful and logical.
Right. We're not a mobster.
Right.
Again?
Is it okay if I ask you a few questions since we're doing a quick survey as well?
Sure.
It's so cringeworthy to listen to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just in case that we sell your property, where are you planning to move to?
We plan to just downsize. We will move from a single-family home to a condo. And, we just want to stay in the area, but we want a newer property, and we don't want to take care of everything ourselves anymore. We want a community.
Oh, I see.
So it's going to be a condominium.
Oh, I see. And how soon do you have to be there?
Following a basic script, right?
In selling these kinds of property, we all have our own strategies or methods. But on your case, what methods are you currently using to market your home?
We have it on Zillow. We know that buy it. Our house is better, 3,000. So that's how we came up with our price. We put all that money possible, but
The buyers. But we would like to preview first your property if it matches on our buyer's criteria. Yes. And actually, I have this question as well. If your home doesn't sell and you were to lease.
Yeah, so we got the
which
ahs,
agent
right? He's going to
would
get down to the ask.
In this case, we have this agent named Carla, man.
well, just like I said, we are selling
So
ourselves.
he asked to meet with her.
But if it doesn't sell in a month or so, possible. There's a possibility that I can meet with some agents, but just like I said.
Okay, so I understand that, Carla. But then this will be just a quick meeting. Carla Massey will just go.
Yeah. So he's just going back in for the close again, right? He asks to meet with her. She says, well, if it doesn't sell for a month or so, then we'll talk to somebody. And then he went right back to, well, just meet with us for a few minutes. Instead, so there's two different possibilities there. When somebody first objects to you, right, Brian? Some of the older school logic, when I say older school, what I mean is, and these are very successful salespeople, and I used to do things that way too, would be somebody says no, you immediately go after showing a value for doing what you've asked, and then you ask again, right, more forcefully. So, and that's a valid technique. It works. The other option that you have in that case is when somebody says, no, I'm not going to meet with you. Well, let me see if I can sell it for a month. And then if it doesn't sell for a month, then I'll meet with people. The other option that you have is to discover what the value is to them doing it that way first before you try to change their mind. Got it. So what would be the benefit to you selling it yourself for a month or giving it a shot for a month before talking to an agent? I just want to understand what you think you're going to get out of that before I try to change your mind at all, right? Because I may not know exactly what you think you're going to get out of that, right? You could think it's a cost savings. You could think that you get to maintain control. You could hide the fact from your friend who's a real estate agent that you don't want to list with, right? These are real possibilities, right? They're rolled into, I'm going to do it. One of those or any other variation can be in that I'm going to wait a month. If you just come back at them and you try to hammer them for a mind change at that point, you might win. But my argument is that you'll win more often if you can first find out what the underlying principle is to that objection, whatever objection it is, and see if you can solve it in a different way for them. Because as long as you can still solve that issue, if it's saving money, if I can save you money in a different way or more money, you might say yes to me. If I can prevent your friend agent that you don't want to work with, if I can convince you that I can help him not find that out in a different way and still get you another benefit to it, you'll consider it, right? That's what you want to do.
Right, and I hear this is what Dale's saying, and maybe just a different way to say it is, I want to sell it by myself is not the objection. There's another objection. That's not the objection. That's the excuse. There's an objection underneath the excuse. It's kind of like, I think the best example of this that I've used more often is like you're working with a buyer and the buyer says, then something comes back and ends up being in multiple offers, and the buyer says, I don't want to be in a multiple offer situation. 9 out of 10 agents assume they don't want to be in a multiple offer situation because they don't want to overpay for the house. But that's not always true. Sometimes they just don't want the stress. They don't want to deal with it. They don't, and to me, those are dumb objections, but it doesn't matter if I'm closing a cost objection for someone who's got a stress objection. It doesn't work. In this scenario, if I'm closing because they don't want their friend to find out, I'm closing a cost objection with that. So I guess the short version of that is don't make the assumption that you understand the objection. Go a level deeper, and I appreciate that's exactly what you said there.
Yeah, man.
Here's another question I have for you, Dale, as you go through this, and we all teach this a little bit differently, but the thing that I really didn't like about what this guy was doing, I felt like he was trying to sell a FSBO on listing the house over the phone. And I feel that's almost impossible, not impossible, but almost impossible, and depending on where you're at in the FSBO cycle. So if you've been a FSBO for a month and a half, that's a heck of a lot different than if I've been a FSBO for a week. But I just want to get in the door. So for me, hey, Mr. FSBO, I completely understand that you're not interested in listing your house. That's not even why I'm calling today. What I got is we work with a whole bunch of buyers in your area. I'd love to come over and preview your house to see if potentially there's somebody in my database who might be interested in your house. I have time available on Tuesday or Wednesday. Which day would work better for you? I just want to get in front of these people, and this is our approach, and I'll give it to everybody. We get in front of them, we do a house preview, and then we offer to show them our marketing in case there's something in our marketing that they would like to do. Well, our marketing overwhelms them, and hopefully they go, holy crap.
Can I have that?
That's our whole philosophy. So,
nice.
I don't like what this guy did. And again, maybe on a FSBO that's been on the market a lot longer, that's fine, but a relatively new FSBO, they don't want to list, or otherwise they'd have listed. So
usually that's the case. I will say that there are exceptions to it.
Sure.
I've personally experienced FSBOs where they just, for some reason, they were like, well, I don't know what else to do, or I don't know an agent, or this seems easy, I'll just throw it up. And you call them up and they're like, yeah, so I don't know, I was just kind of dicking around, but yeah, I'll talk to you. Let's take a look at that, right? Or, maybe they did. Maybe by the time you get them on the phone, because they don't answer their phone, it's a week and a half in, and they've already been annoyed by a couple of phone calls, and they're just ready to throw the towel in. So there are instances that like that, but a lot of times, yeah, in the cycle, they're not there yet. They haven't ripened yet.
Right, and so that's why, to me, you've got, and what you probably didn't cover there was you figured that out through doing some discovery, and so how's that fit? I'm sure one of the things that you ask people is, so you're selling your house for sale by owner, how's it going? Well, if they start talking about how it's, and all I get is agents' phone calls and all, well, that's different than I just want to sell it myself. So again, we've got to ask those front end questions so we know how to close.
Absolutely. Excellent. Okay. Well, we're at time. Brian, anything else? Did you have another one that you want to play? Or I think your audio is working.
No, we're good. My audio is goofy today anyway, but I'm sure people would love to spend hours listening to us talk, but I'm going to let them look forward to that, and a little carrot for next time. So no, I think we had a good call today, Dale, and I appreciate you as always.
Excellent. Sounds good, man. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.